South African Cabin Crew Association and NUMSA are set to protest over job losses and what they consider to be corruption at the new South African Airways. They say workers on the training layoff program are not being absorbed into the organization due to mismanagement. The unions also accused SAA of rehiring management who took voluntary severance packages and offering them generous packages again. This while average workers have to make do with far less than before. Well, NUMSA says Phakamile Hlubi-Majola joins us now. Phakamile, thanks so much for joining us. Why the protests, and exactly, we've gone into some details there with the new SAA, which we hoped wouldn't be beset by the issues that you're telling us your members are experiencing?
Our members have reached a point of where they really feel as if their backs are against the wall. We have raised these issues in different ways, in different forums within the structures of SAA, and the issues that we've raised, we've been ignored. This is not the first time that our members have picketed over this issue. Last year, late last year, workers at SAA actually raised the very same issues that they're going to be picketing at DPE for tomorrow. And that is the first and foremost, that we have a serious situation where, as of today, about 225 members of NUMSA and SAA will suddenly be out of work because the training layoff scheme has expired. Now, these workers, in terms of what the original plan was, is that these workers should have been absorbed into the company as full-time employees at SAA. Unfortunately, the entire training layoff scheme has been completely mismanaged by SAA. It was not implemented the way it should have been originally implemented. These workers, for example, in the time while they were on training layoff, should have been trained by the training authority. That was not done because SAA management was not actually committed to this scheme. And then so whilst the scheme is now going to expire and these workers are now suddenly going to find themselves jobless, you have on the other side a situation where management of SAA has rehired people who took voluntary severance packages and rehired them to positions at the airline. And as a union and as unions, we're asking very serious questions about the method and the process that was used in appointing these people. The processes that were followed, for example, they did not advertise for these jobs. We suddenly just found out about some of these appointments that were being made. And what was most shocking is that a lot of these people who were rehired are people who actually accepted voluntary severance packages. Now, because they took a voluntary severance package, these people should not have been reemployed. And the fact that SAA has taken a decision to reemploy them is a form of corruption. So these are some of the issues that members are going to be raising as they picket outside the offices of the Department of Public Enterprises tomorrow.
Phakamile, members have been desperate for jobs and for pay for months now. They probably hoping for some kind of normality to return and for their jobs to come back. Does this put them at any kind of risk?
Well, the issue of the outstanding payments was finally settled last year. I think what is really a burning issue for the remaining employees at SAA, those who are actually currently employed at SAA, is the fact that in order for us to have arrived to the point where we have a restructured airline, thousands of workers at SAA lost their jobs. And what is most painful is to see this so-called new SAA doing the same things as the old SAA, where we see examples of mismanagement, we see examples of corruption, and there's absolutely no consequence management and no accountability. For example, one of the biggest failures, and it's not just a failure of the board and the ministry, but also a failure of SCOPA in terms of its role in holding government to account, is the fact that SAA has been let off the hook for not delivering audited financial statements since 2017, 2018. That in itself is a complete and utter disgrace. They've been hiding behind the business rescue process as an excuse for why they've not produced audited financials. The failure to produce audited financials was part of the reason that workers were not properly accommodated and taken care of during the training layoff scheme, and the process was not properly followed. And it's quite disgraceful that Scopa has not actually hauled the Minister Pravin Gordhan, over the coals over the failure of SAA to produce financials. Because as long as SAA is not producing financials, it means that corruption can continue. It means that no one is actually accounting for how money is being spent in that organization. There really needs to be serious intervention at SAA. The minister, in our view, is derelict in his duty, and this entity is not operating all the promises that we were made. It's not living up to them at all.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Phakamile Hlubi-Majola speaking for NUMSA and the South African Cabin Crew Association.